a question. Who is an extrovert in here will consider themselves to be? Okay, what happened to you with the pandemic? What did you become? Go ahead, Emily.
Before quarantine, I feel like I used to be like a whole different person. Like I was usually like super shy. I kept to myself. But then like when we went into quarantine, like I just had myself, and that like I didn't like that. And so like at that time like I just started to like find myself and not depending on like what other people's impact was on me. And so when I went back, like I had people telling me I was a whole different person.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't so shy and I was more confident in myself, and I, like Garza was saying, like I wasn't afraid to like speak our minds. And I mean it's really benefited me like specifically for like herders and science club.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Whenever I went into quarantine, I went in my freshman year, and I was like a very bubbly person. I was in theater, and so I feel like it's like stereotype theater kids are like crazy and stuff like that. But as soon as I went into quarantine, I shut myself off. I stopped communication with all my friends. Worst thing I could have done for myself, truly, because I was stuck in a room by myself with only myself, and that was awful. It really affected me because I didn't like who I was, and so I kept like thinking, my mind was like racing of like what's going on, like I can't fix this, don't have anybody. And so whenever I returned back to school my junior year, I found myself more closed off and I didn't want to like talk or interact with anyone. I'm finally like branching out now, but it was definitely a situation where I was no longer who I was, but probably for the negative rather than positive.
Yeah. Go ahead.
In like 6th grade, because we went into quarantine my 7th grade year, so in 6th grade, I was always like happy and talkative, and then we went into quarantine and I couldn't be happy and talkative because all I had was me, my siblings, and my neighbor. And I came back my 8th grade year and I was very like not 100% there. And then of course we got to high school and finally I joined herders and like I found myself again. So I'm coming back.
Yeah. Coming back. I like that. And I think it's going to be a different version of yourself. And when we are forced to go inward and engage with ourselves, we get to learn things about ourselves. We should be able to say, I like this part about me and I don't like this part about me, because why? Those things come up in your social groups. And it's good to know that about yourself already. And I think that is a plus side of having this interesting thing happen to everyone. And being able to learn more about yourself and finding a way to adapt to those things. Yeah. Okay. How often do topics of mental health come up in your friend group? A lot.
Yeah.
Stop looking at
That's the most interesting thing about Gen Z to me, is how open y'all are with your mental health. Because so far, without me asking anything about it, y'all have already shared parts of your mental health. So I really appreciate that about you. So maybe you don't need to disclose fully, but I'd like to know like what is like a general topic that comes up about mental health, whether it's you talking about what you're struggling with. Again, no details, but if you can give like a vague answer about mental health.
A lot of what me and my friends talk about is a lot of like our situations, I guess, like things we deal with at home, things we're dealing with at school, kind of like the basic stressors of everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since it's our senior year, we're kind of like trying to pick up the pieces and get stuff done. I don't know.
Is it helpful to be able to do that with your friends?
I think it is, because it's nice knowing that I do have a support group and people that I can rely on whenever I do need it, and they always offer me, like, you know, encouraging words, like, you know, you got it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Girl boss.
Girl boss.
Okay. Who else? Frank. Okay, go ahead.
The topic of mental health is actually disclosed very little in my friend group, and it could also just be the fact that we're all a bunch of dudes, and that could be at least it's a society, a stigma that dudes or just guys in general talk about mental health, and I myself don't see much of an issue with it, or it just could be the fact that we ourselves are fine for the most part because we do have ways to distract ourselves with our extracurriculars or with our own personal matters, but it's not disclosed between us because, in my opinion at least, you could be reliant on a support group and that's fantastic. But in my opinion, you can certainly become over reliant of those people, and the second they go away because they have their own stuff to deal with, then you yourself are left stranded.
Yeah. So what you're speaking on is having a variety of tools.
Actually, at your own disposal, not that the tools are your peers, but that the tools are yourself and your own ways of dealing with your issues.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Anyone else?
I agree with both of them. I know, like, for me when I was in middle school, I was, like, the sole, like, support for, like, my whole friend group. So I just carried, like, all of their baggage, and I, like, felt bad sharing my things with them because I felt like I didn't, like, deserve to share things with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I carried, like, my stuff and then, like, 8 other people's stuff on top of that. So that wasn't healthy for me, but now I feel like I have better friends that I can talk to, and I think that, like, just, like, in general, we as people, like, we talk about things, like, that's how community works, like, we talk about our issues, like, we gossip, like, we talk about what's happening in our lives, so I think whether you, like, realize it or not, you do talk about your mental health in a way because your situations affect your mental health, and everyone talks about the situations, whether they, like, realize it or not. And so, yeah. But, like, with certain friends, I do go, like, deeper into it, like, with each other. And we do have other things that we use, but, like, sometimes you just, like, need to talk to somebody. And you don't always want, like, advice. You just need to, like, just, like, get it out there. But, like, with a person who can, like, hold you while you talk about it. Because a journal is helpful, but a journal can't, like, give you, like, physical contact that you need sometimes.
Okay.
And and, like, as humans, like, we're born with our first instinct, which is to ask for help. And, like, babies, like, they cry because they need help. So I feel like we as people, like, we search for help and physical contact because we need that and we, like, yearn for it just, like, in our instincts. So I think it's good to have, like, a healthy friend and support group that, like, genuinely wants what's good for you, and also to have, like, professional assistance and, like, to have tools that are given to you by a professional.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you need to have both.
Yeah. I like the analogy of a baby, because if you think about a baby is needy, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We grow up from baby to now, we're still needy people. So if you're ever, like, questioning, like, what do I need and can't really figure it out, maybe think of what a baby needs. You can even write it down and kind of look at it and say, oh, am I hungry right now? Am I thirsty? Do I need sleep? Do I need a change of clothes? Something, because all those things are how you're taking care of yourself. Journaling is amazing. Journaling allows you to be able to, like, go from out to in or in to out and writing things down, and being able to also talk, whether it's with a professional, whether it's with the peer groups, a place where you feel safe are always you can use to really engage and learn something about yourself. That's partially why whenever some of us are sharing when quarantine happened, being with ourselves was, like, kind of uncomfortable. We're distracted. That's where social media comes in. We don't really get to spend much time with ourselves because we have something else stimulating us. But then when we're forced into this space of, well, you kind of have to hang out with yourself, see how cool or not cool you are. It gives you insight so you can work on those things and build and grow as a baby, a small baby to a big baby, and that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to check in real quick. How are y'all doing?
Mm-hmm.
Super? Okay. You can just shake it off if you need to get up a little bit, because we're getting into it now. We are, right? No? Okay.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? Are you checking in with each other? Okay. I love this.